So this is about current affairs. Lots of people concerned about what is going on. The government comes in, a new government comes in, they have new plans. It usually ends up as a disaster, as we all know. We need to revise the social services bill. All the money that's being spent on benefits is ruining the country. We could save billions, 4, 5, 6, 8 billion, if we get a whole load of disabled people off the benefit system, free them up so that they can enjoy working again, liberated, rather than sitting at home and having to drive around in that new car supplied by the DSS. They'd be so much better off working. In fact, that's what my wife was told. She went for an assessment. This is back about 6 years ago. George Osborne introduced this idea of saving money. We'll get all those loafers who are sponging off the state, we'll take them off their DSA or their PIP, and they can go back to work and enjoy a job. So she was interviewed, and I was stupid enough. I just went there and sat there. And the woman said, "Oh, you could do a lovely job. You'd be a secretary or something." This is to someone who's got a disability and has had a learning disability. Since she was in school, primary school. She's quite capable of working in a charity shop. She can't add up, for goodness sake. Anyway, this woman then, she gets a notification about 4 weeks later. Your PIP is going, or disability living allowance is stopping. You're now free to go to work. So in a huge panic, my wife and I rush off to an advocacy, a volunteer advocacy group, and they chat to her. She explains her position. She shows them the paperwork. They fill in make an application for her to appeal the decision, and it goes to kind of magistrate's court, which is basically one magistrate and a qualified doctor. And apparently we learned that the nurses that were dishing out this freedom to these disabled people, they were given a bonus for each person they labelled as ready to work. They got a nice bonus. So if they saw 8 people in the day, they could have 8 £50 bonuses for a day's work. Well, that makes a nice little nest egg for a holiday, doesn't it, in the future? So even if they just do 4 out of the 8 that they see for the day, it's a nice little nest egg. Now, these are generally women who are kind of nurses who are not working. They're kind of self-employed. They'll take up these opportunities when they come along. And so we're likely to have the same thing happen again. Because you see, the governments are stupid. My wife won the case, got all her money back. It cost the state more than £2,000, probably nearly 3, to pay the costs of the court case, etc. So, because they used unqualified people. But of course, if you've watched Yes Minister, you'll know how the ministers are manipulated. Do you remember Yes Minister? The minister was given advice by his cabinet secretary, and they were all in the departments of the civil service. And whenever they suggest something like this to a minister, their number of people, they have to take people on, you see. If you want to save money, you need to get rid of people from claiming benefit. You'd normally want to cut jobs, wouldn't you? But they always have to employ lots of people, you see, to make a saving. Well, when you hear that word, we're going to take on a whole load of people in our department and have all these nurses, these so-called nurses, who are and they're extra training, of course, so that they've been sold the lie again. So their Minister of Health now has been conned a second time. within 10 years. The same so-called saving. If Keir Starmer had the sense, he would stop sending Storm Shadows missiles, which is £3 million each. Now, and stop sending the RAF over to Ukraine to help out the Ukrainians. Stop wasting our money on all that. That will save more than the so-called saving that they're going to make, which won't. It will cost more. The only people that benefit from this con trick is the civil service, because they can increase their number of workers, increase their budgets, and then in the civil service, if they're even the top ones, they get put forward for the King's Honours. The King's Honours now, they get put forward. So the head of the civil service is now Sir, whatever it is, So any minister that comes into the job, the first thing, you get rid of those civil service advisors. They're the first people to sack. It's the same with the management in the NHS. Get rid of them. They're not doing anything. They're not cleaning the toilets. They're not feeding people in the cafe. They're not doing the doctoring, which is what is needed. And they're not being nurses. Get rid of the administrative layer of rubbish. Get rid of them. Well, that would solve part of the problem with the expense of the NHS, which is 190 billion every year. In fact, the cost of that is more than it would have cost to build HS2 over a 15-year period. Madness, complete madness. Anyway, I've had my little rant. That's Gaz's opinion. Take care, everybody. Let's hope the Labour government has the sense to back out of it. At least they're not doing anything till November 2026. But it does worry people who are disabled now. And quite a few have ended up dead, because the least able ones who are disabled, who lose their money, who lose their PIP and go on to £70 a week. Now, how many middle class families spend more than £70 a week on their animals, let alone or school dinners, let alone half these people go out for a meal and spend more than £50 for a couple of hours for the night. And yet they expect those poor people, the disabled people, to live on £70 a week. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. So there we are. Anyway, I've had my little rant. Maybe by that period of time, the government will have had so many backbenchers rebel against them, being a Labour Party government, that they may actually kind of give it up. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. I better get back to doing religious videos. This is a bit naughty, isn't it? Anyway, take care and enjoy the rest of your week. For me, it's May now, so that's quite nice.